Hey everybody, Jay here. Just doing a video for Eric, who bought my little 2-vessel homebrew system that runs on 120 volts. So if you want to watch the video, feel free. It's mainly just an instructional video that I'm going to post up here on YouTube, but hey, you guys are welcome to watch it. Stay tuned. We're going to actually do a brew with it so that I can explain it properly while we're doing the whole thing. See you guys in just a little bit while I set up here. So I know I'm not quite in the shot right now, but I'm just bringing the system over, and we're going to go through what it actually has so that you know how to set it up. So this is your mash tun right here, and basically it's already set up. The false bottom's in there. This is your Blickman auto stop right here. Okay, when you hook it up, you want to have it so it's pretty much facing straight down, so that when it comes up, it only fills up to where you see the line here, so it doesn't empty your brew pot of water and burn out your element. Now, one thing you want to do with a false bottom, you don't have to have a muslin bag in there. I usually do run one, which I have right here. And I put this bag in. I'll put it in and I'll show you how I do this, so that you know how it's set up. Because you don't want it blocking your auto stop, and you don't want it blocking your hose that circulates. Basically, I just put the muslin bag in like this and bring it up underneath the hose, right? And of course this has room to move so it doesn't get caught in anything. Once it's got grain in there, it's better. So that's basically all there is to setting up your mash tun. Now this is an old Igloo cooler top that I had. Sits on top of your boil pot and it doesn't move anywhere, and then your mash tun sits on top. But we'll get to that point, or that step, in a little bit. We're going to take the lid for the mash tun and we're going to take this and we're going to put them out of the way for now, and we're going to finish setting up the system here. So here's your controller. Which is just a basic PID. This is the power supply for your pump on the front of your brew pot. You can't see it, it's down here, right there, this thing. Okay, it's a 12-volt pump. We'll move that out of the way. And I've got 2 muslin bags. I just grabbed one to show you that. But usually when I'm storing this, I put the bag in the pot with the hoses right there. But we won't be needing this bag because I've already got one in the pot. We'll just put that off to the side. Now there's 3 hoses here. A long one, a short one, both with cams, and a small hose with a copper end on it. Okay, I'm going to show you how to set these up here in just a second. And the pot with the connection right here, and you can see I've put a guard on it so nobody electrocutes himself. And I'll be right back as soon as I get the hoses I need to fill this up with water and show you where we're going from there. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to set up the controller here real quick. Basically just how we're plugging it in. So you got your main power line. That's your power for the whole controller. String it out and get it ready. Don't plug it in yet. Okay? Then you've got your line right here, which is for your brew pot. You can get it ready and get it strung and ready to plug in to your brew pot, but do not plug it in. Okay, it's important that you don't plug anything in yet. You've got your power for your pump, which plugs into your adapter to go from 110 to 12 volts. You can plug that in and plug it in to the pump. Don't plug anything else in. Now make sure that your valves are off in your pot. Sorry about that, that was the dryer. So make sure your valves are off on your pot, very important. Okay? Make sure everything is down on your switches. I'm going to bring this a little closer so you can see it. Okay, on your switches here, make sure your element's off, your pump's off, your alarm's off. All three should be down. Okay, remember, nothing's plugged in yet. Okay? Bear with me. I'm not very good at doing instructional videos, so. Now, you want to get your pot, and you want to put, you can verify this and redo the testing on the boil, but typically I find, because I do 19.5 liters for a keg, that if I put 24 in, I usually have enough left after the boil and the grain to fill a keg. So you want to put 24 liters in here. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here and I'm going to fill this up full of 24 liters of water and put hot water in because it reduces your warm-up time. And once that's in, I'll turn it back on and I'll show you what we're doing next. Alright, so as you can see, I got water in here. It's about 24 liters. Now I use 24 because I'm doing 19-liter batches. It gives me enough for the trub, the grain, and etc. You can do more if you need to, depending on the size. It's usually about a 4-liter boil off on this. So that's how I judge mine. That's, well, 3-liter boil off and a 1-liter loss, usually to the grain. So now we're ready to look at the controller and get things rolling here. I've plugged in the temperature sensor right here to the back of the pot. There's a little port there for it. I've plugged in the element. Everything is still off. The pump is plugged in. Now I'm going to plug in the controller itself. Now it has to be in a 20 amp 110 volt circuit, which I have right here. Okay, so you see the controller's on, it's initializing. I put hot water in here already, 128.9 degrees. Now we're going to put the lid on and we're going to let it warm up. So how are we going to set the temperature now? If you look, I think you can see that pretty well. Okay, the controller is showing 130, but it's set for 212. Okay, so we're going to hit the second button in from the left just once, and see it starts to flash. This is how we're going to set our temperature. Let's go to the next one. I want my temperature at, for the mash, I'm going to do a smash beer, single malt, single hop. So I'm going to mash it at approximately 157. Okay, so I set that to 7 using these two arrow buttons. We'll go down 1, go to the next one. Whoops, should be at 5. So 157. So when I'm done, that's my temperature, I press set. Okay, now if you hold the set button down, you can set your alarm. So hold it down. The alarm is set for 160. So I want to set, same way, hit the second button, and I want to go in. As soon as it hits 156, I want to know. So now, press the set button once, it stops flashing. Hold the set button down till you get to your main screen again. Okay? So at 156 it'll go off to tell me it's getting to the mash temperature. I usually just put the grains in and let them warm up with it and cool down with it. So Not a big deal. So we'll turn our alarm on because we want it to beep when it's ready. The pump is ready to go. The element's ready to go. It's waiting to heat up to 157, so let's turn on the power to the element. Power's on in the element, and if you open this, you'll see it's starting already to boil along the element. It's already starting. So we know it's working. So there you go. While this is getting up to temperature, I'm going to get the grains ready, and I'm going to show you how to hook the pots together. Okay, so we have the mash tun with the bag in it I showed you earlier, and you see the auto stop, the Blickman. Make sure the grain is below it, that is sitting on top of it. I've got 9 pounds of 2-row in there right now, and you can see it's not full. So it holds quite a bit. And this is going to make my 5.5% base for my smash beer, which I'm making using Northern Brewer hops. So now we can take this and we can hook it up. So this has been heating up since we've been gone here, getting everything ready to go. Bear with me a second here. We'll lift this up. The controller is already at 145.9, so we're just about ready. Hasn't taken long to heat up, didn't take long to do the grains either. So now I said you'll need the little plastic piece that goes on there from the old Igloo cooler that I had. So this is the separator between the two, so you can stack them. Okay? So you need this, and you're going to need that one hose that has the copper end on it. Okay, so we're going to take, these are the hoses you need. We're going to set them right here for just a minute. We're going to take this off, set it right there. We're going to open this up. We are going to hook this hose up. This hose was right here on the top valve, pointing down. This is so you don't get a whole bunch of air mixing around with your wort when you're getting the sugars out of the grain. So you put that in there, close this back up, put the plastic piece on here, take your mash tun, and you set your mash tun right on top. Okay? Now you want to line up this top valve, or this top port, with the bottom valve. Okay? I should check and see if you guys can actually see that, what I'm pointing at. So yes, you can. So the top port here, the cam, lines up with this bottom valve. Okay? So now what you're going to do, you're going to take your short hose and you're going to put it on the bottom valve of your mash tun. And you're going to connect it to the top valve of your boil pot right here. Now you can turn these two valves on, because nothing's going to happen with those right now. Your long hose, right here, you want to connect from your top port, right here, straight down to your bottom one where the pump is, right there. Okay? Now you look, make sure everything's connected tight. It's lined up the way I said. Top port to bottom. Okay? That's how you want to do it. Now you can go ahead and open this bottom valve. Now you've just primed your pump. Okay, your pump is ready to go. Do not turn it on yet. One thing I'm going to suggest is you get yourself a timer. I use this one here, one of the ones I use, and I can set it. Now when I do my mash in this, I run it for 90 minutes to get as much of the sugar out of the grain as I can. Because it's a fly sparge, so it's constantly going through and it's using the full volume of water, I don't mash in or mash out. As soon as my temperature gets to where I set it, I throw the pump on, I count down for 90 minutes. So we'll put that timer right there. So we're just about ready. It's still warming up a little bit. So as soon as it gets real close to being at the temperature I want, I'll turn the camera back on and I'll show you how it works. Alright, so we're just about to where I set the alarm at 156. Setting up the system, getting everything going and getting it up to temperature so far has taken 35 minutes. That's including crushing my grains and getting everything going. So 35 minutes. And we're just about up to our sparge temperature, or mash temperature. And we've got the grains in ready to go. So we're rocking and rolling here. So as soon as this goes off, we can turn the pump on, turn the alarm off, and start the timer. And there it is. Right there, the alarm's going off. Just turn the alarm button off, the top one here, and leave it. Now, turn your pump on. Your valves are all open, so you're good. Pump is on. You can verify it because you'll be able to see it come through the hose. And you can hear it. Now it's pumping the water in there. We're good to go. Start the timer. So 90 minutes from now, you can see the elements going on here. Okay, it's doing its thing. It's getting right to temperature, so it's coming on and off. And there's 157. If you have problems, every once in a while it'll keep going on and drive the temperature up, and you don't want that. Hold down the second button and it'll put it into auto tune mode. Okay, now it should be okay. It's not coming on and driving it on. It's still hot in there, so we're okay. It's good. Okay, so only do this if you find that it's doing weird things. Sometimes it does it every once in a while. It's those PIDs. They just do it. Not a big deal. So I'm going to take the camera off of the mount here, and just to show you, we'll zoom out here. So here's the setup. It is running right now. There's your gauge on it, your temperature gauge. See, we're right within limits. And if you look in there, if I can get in there, let's see. Alright, showing me. It's filling up. It's going to start circulating, or whirlpooling, whatever you want to call it. So we're good. We're good. You see, it's already doing its thing. It's making sure the temperature stays constant. Here's your return line, which is already warm. Brings it back into the pot. We're doing well. So I'll turn this off until we're done our mash, and we'll continue from then. Okay, so I'm back here now. We're just starting the drain. So the mash is done. And while this is draining, what I'm going to do, let me just flip this over so I can make sure I'm in the shot here. Well, sort of in the shot. What I'm going to do is I am going to let this drain and start the boil. So same thing. I'm going to put the camera over here so you can see what I'm doing. Show you how to program this. Okay, so same thing here. I'll zoom in. Okay, so you want to hit the second button from the left, and you want to get that 7 flashing. You want to bring it up. So I'm going to set this for 212. Okay, and then you just press the set button once you're done, and it's coming on. Now hold the set button again until it flashes. There's your alarm. We're going to set the alarm at 200, because at about 203 this starts to boil. Okay, we're going to press set. Notice the alarm has gone off. Hold the set button down till you get back to your regular temperature. There it is, it's heating up. Turn the alarm switch on. The pump's off, this is draining. So we're all good there. Once this is drained, we can take the grains and you can do whatever you want with them, recycle them, whatever, and go from there. So now this is on its heat up. Element's on, heating this up while it's draining back. So it shouldn't take too long to get into a boil. So let's start the timer and see how long it takes to reach our boil at approximately 203. And I will be back. Okay, so we're at temperature 200.5. Take the lid off. It's just starting to boil. I'll show you here. Just give me a second. We'll stop that. So, if you look right here, okay, we are sitting at, and it's still climbing by the way, 201 already. 27 minutes basically to bring it to a boil. And there it is. Just starting to boil right there. See? So that's it. So now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to let it boil for 1 hour. I'm going to put my hops in. And that's it. Set your timer and you're done. I set mine for 45 because at 15 minutes I put in my yeast nutrient and my Warflock tablet and then it's done. But there it is. It's just at a low boil right now and it'll pump up to 210 and it'll sit there and it'll do its boil. Just make sure you keep your lid off once it starts boiling. You don't want the lid on because it keeps all the bad stuff in there if you have the lid on, and you want the evaporation so you get your alcohol, so you get your targets. So that's it. That's all there is to it. So if you got any questions, let me know, Eric, and enjoy the system. Cheers, everybody. So I just wanted to do one more here just to show you that it does actually hit 210. And that's 37 minutes basically left in my first 45 minutes. So we're actually only into the boil here right now about 9 minutes. So, and there it is, boiling. Oops, let me zoom that out. Boiling away rather nicely, as you can see. And that's the 110 volt 2000 watt element, and that's the little system right there. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call and I will help you as best I can. I know this system worked well for me and I'm sure it'll work well for you. Cheers.